A very good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, Jai Hind. I hope each one of you are doing great. Now, in today's session, we will essentially start off with the chapter 6 of class 6th NCERT. Now, in this session, we will be talking about rural administration. Okay. Now, essentially, if we talk about this topic, to be very precise, this topic has got very less relevance for prelims point of view. Okay. But the topic has greater relevance for GS2 as well as GS3. Okay. Now, herein you can understand about the land records policy that can be cultivated. Okay. Moreover, herein we can also discuss about the widespread litigation, okay, corruption at the rural level. Okay, so in this chapter, a relevant example of patwaris has been given. Okay, they have covered case studies regarding farmers' distress. They have talked about the centrally sponsored schemes, okay, the computerization of land records, okay, and what all sorts of dispute redressal can be undertaken. It all has been covered in this. Clear? So this topic has got a greater relevance in your mains part. Okay, but since we'll be covering all Indian polity NCERTs from class 6th up to class 12th, so I'll also take up this topic in detailed manner and how effectively we can understand this entire topic. Clear? Chaliye. So a very good afternoon to all of you who have joined me now in this session. I welcome each one of you here. Okay, and I would request each one of you, okay, to do let me know your feedback about these sessions. Okay, are you finding these sessions useful? Okay, are you covering up the questions that have been given at the end of the session? And how about you being able to link these topics with the previous year questions that have been asked? Clear? Okay, if you have been through the previous topics, at the end of every unit I am covering up all the previous year questions that have been asked in relation to this unit, and also how you can link up your preparation with these. Clear? Chali. So let us start off with this session. Now, before moving ahead, let me ask you a question. Okay, in the previous session we had talked about Panchayati Raj. Okay. And additionally, I had also told you about evolution of Panchayati Raj institution in India. But do you know what effectively is the scope of Panchayati Raj institution in India? Okay. So that is additionally, I'm telling you. Okay. I'll also tell you what all things are being covered by this topic. But first and foremost, I want you to understand that what is the scope of Panchayati Raj institutions in India. Okay. So after the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, Part 9A was added. Okay. Which also included Article 243G. Okay, so basically in Panchayati Raj institution, Article 243P, okay, Article 243 to 243P were added. Okay. Oh, okay. So herein, when we were discussing all of these things, okay, you must understand that what all things, okay, are basically part of the Panchayati Raj institutions. What is the scope of Panchayati Raj institutions? Okay, and how effectively the Panchayati Raj institutions have been working in India. Clear? So this is what you must understand. Clear? Now, with this 73rd Amendment Act coming into force, it provided for constitutional measures for the Panchayati Raj institutions for a decentralized self-governance at the village level. Clear? So all of these things had been included by this. Okay. And this essentially uh, the part that came into existence, okay, it added a part 9 to the Constitution of India, okay, and the articles 243 to 243O. Clear? Now, it also had added the 11th schedule to the Constitution of India, okay. And this 11th schedule had contained all the matters, all the topics over which the panchayats had the rights to administer. Okay. So all of these topics can be broadly divided into 4 heads. Okay. So there are 29 subjects over which panchayats can undertake their administration. Okay. And this can be broadly divided under 4 heads. Clear? First is agriculture and natural resources. Now, panchayats have the right over agriculture and agricultural extension, land improvement, land reforms, soil conservation, minor irrigation, water management, watershed development, animal husbandry, fisheries, social forestry, and farm forestry, as well as the minor forest produce. Clear? So, all of these 29 topics that majorly correlate to the powers, okay, or the scope of Panchayati Raj institutions. Then, second thing that it covers is the rural economy and the infrastructure. Okay, so it covers small scale industries and food processing, khadi, village and cottage industries, rural housing, drinking water, fuel and fodder, roads, culverts, bridges, ferries, waterways and communication, rural electrification and distribution of electricity, non-conventional energy sources. Okay. Then poverty alleviation program. So under education, culture and development, it covers the poverty alleviation program. Education including primary and secondary schools, technical training and vocational education, adults and non-formal education, libraries, cultural activities, markets and fairs. Okay. In under health, welfare and community services, it covers health and sanitation, including hospitals, primary health centers and dispensaries. Okay. Along with it, it also covers family welfare, women and child development, social welfare, including welfare of persons with disabilities, welfare of weaker sections, especially SCs, STs, public distribution system, and maintenance of community assets. Clear? So these majorly constitute the 29 subjects over which the panchayats can undertake administration. Clear? Chaliye. Now, we have seen that these are the functional subjects, okay, through which panchayat is focusing on the rural self-governance, okay, and it is due to the functionality over these topics, panchayats shall act as an office, as a self-sustaining ecosystem. Okay. Now, when we talk about what effectively or essentially are the things which are covered under this topic, okay, what all are the things that are covered under this topic? Now, in this topic, we get to learn. Now, in this topic, we essentially get to learn about what rural administration is. Okay. So, rural administration, essentially, we have seen that wherever we have any sort of administration, it is majorly divided into two sections. First, it is democratic. Next, it is bureaucratic. Okay. Democratic level, we have got the panchayat. Bureaucratic level, we have got the village development officials, the police, the revenue department. Clear? So, we have seen that at the rural administration level also, we have got two separate systems of governance. Clear? Then, in this rural administration, we also must understand that what all are the situation under the law and order. Now, why at times students will feel that all these topics are irrelevant in NCERT. But if you will talk about the governance, these topics will make you understand the ground realities. Just around 2 years back, the Supreme Court, while addressing a petition around the conduct of panchayat elections, the Supreme Court had opined that the panchayat elections are amongst those elections where maximum amount of money and the muscle power has been involved. Okay. So people might think that why is it so that for the most unit level of elections, so much of money and muscle power are included. Clear? So herein we will also understand the judicial or the jurisdictional concept at the village level. Okay. Then, at times referred to as the most powerful individuals at the rural administration, Patwari. So this topic also lets you understand the Patwari and the land records. Clear? Okay. So what essentially is the importance of land records? Clear? Who is Patwari? What is the role of Patwari? What is the role of police? How Patwari undertakes measurement of the lands, records, revenue, disputes. Okay. How such uh, disputes are resolved, how at the village level ownership of the land is understood, how loans, subsidies, property transfer takes place, what all are the legal remedies, what all are the mechanisms available to the government, okay, what all are the problems faced, okay, and how computerization or digitalization of the land records is helping to ensure smooth administration at the village level. Clear? Lastly, this topic also undertakes a very important issue of women's land rights. Okay, what does the Hindu Succession Act says? Okay, how women could inherit the properties. Okay, when we talk about the women or the farmers succession or the laws, land laws, it is always understood as something which are prerogative of the men. Clear? So this topic in overall has looked at some of the most prominent administrative working of the rural areas. Okay. In this topic, we will understand that how the law and order is maintained. Okay, what is the law of role of police? Okay, and the other case study will let us understand the role of Patwari. Okay, herein we will also understand the importance of office like Tehsildar. Okay, and how the land records like the Khasra, Khatoni, they all take place. Clear? Okay, so we'll be understanding public services at the village level through this topic. Clear? Chalo. Now, when we move ahead, let me also remind you that today we have started off with our GS Foundation batch in English language. Okay, complete English language batch. based upon our smart model of preparation. So please do subscribe to this, and you may use the code SRM Live to avail maximum discount. Along with this, you can subscribe to my Telegram channel and you can gain access to all the PDFs of this Smart NCERT series and all the current affairs topics that I have covered. Clear? Now, when we start off with this topic starts with a very good example of a story, how things turn, okay, and how day-to-day matters are resolved in the villages. Clear? Okay. Now, when we have to understand the rural administration, okay, there are over 6 lakh villages in India, and villages have the responsibility to maintain their water, their sanitation, their infrastructure, their electricity. Okay. But besides everything, the land records are the most prominent responsibility that has to be dealt by the government. Okay. And just to ensure proper maintenance of the land records, a large machinery is in place. Okay. So, while understanding the work of administrative officers, you should understand this example. Okay. Now, in a village, a quarrel happened between two farmers. Okay. A farmer named Mohan and the other named Raghu. Okay. Now, Mohan is a farmer. Okay. And they do own agricultural land over which they have been farming for many years. Okay. Adjoining to their land is the land of Raghu. Okay. Now, in the villages, the lands are not demarcated by huge boundaries. Okay. They just create a bandh from on the farming field. Okay. Bandh is like basically a temporary settlement done just so as to ensure that the marking of the farm is clear. Okay. Now, Mohan and Raghu have been farming over their respective lands. One day, Mohan in the morning goes to his farm, okay, and he notices that there has been some mischief done. And it does not take much time for him to realize that Raghu had shifted the bandh by a few feet, okay, and by doing so, now Raghu had managed to take over some of Mohan's land. ठीक? Now, this is a very common happening that is taking place amongst the villagers, and it further reflects into greater disputes. Okay. Now, by changing the bandh, the Raghu has now access to a greater land. Okay. And Mohan, who originally had the ownership of the land, he was surprised. He was angry with this. Okay. But Raghu is basically a relatively a powerful person. Okay, his family owned many fields, and his uncle was the sarpanch of the village. Clear? Now Mohan, even though knew that Raghu is powerful, he confronted Raghu. He went to his house. He confronted Raghu. Okay, but in the confrontation itself, Raghu refused to accept that he has done the mischief. Okay. He called upon his companions, he called upon his helpers and family members, and they all started beating Mohan. Okay. Now, when neighbors heard the commotion taking place, they rushed to the spot wherein Mohan was being beaten up. Clear? Now, they took him away. They somehow tried to resolve the fight. Okay. But in this, Mohan was badly hurt. Okay. Neighbors, when pacified him, calmed him down, okay, they suggested that he should go to the police station and file a report. Many villagers were doubtful of this because they knew that Raghu had access to muscle power as well as the money power, and by this time he would have also even settled out. Adjustments would have been made at the police level also. So, after much discussion, Mohan now decided that he would go to the police station with some of his neighbors who will act as the witness before the police. Okay. Now, when he reached the police station, okay, on the way, few of his neighbors had suggested that they must take some money to bribe the police officials. Okay. Now, at this moment of time, Mohan was a very upright man. Okay. He said that there is no point of using money because he is right. Okay. He is correct. Okay, and he has been wronged in the situation. Clear? So they decided that instead of going to the police station of the city or the town, they will go to the police station under whose jurisdiction the village area is directly lying. Clear? Okay. Since every police station has a dedicated area under its control and every person can report cases and inform the police and gets the dispute resolved. Okay. Now, at this situation, when they reached the police station, Mohan went to the station house officer, popularly called the SHO, the Inspector Saab. Okay. And at that moment of time, he requested the SHO that he want to give a complaint in writing. Okay, about how he has been wronged by Raghu and then he has been mishandled by Raghu and his family. Okay, but at that situation, the SHO, okay, brushed him aside and told him that he would not undertake all these minor disputes. He is not here to undertake all of these minor disputes. Now, by listening to this response of the SHO, Mohan was puzzled. Okay, he did not know what to do because essentially he had come for justice and the official who was supposed to undertake justice, he declined to do so. Clear? So, at this situation, at this moment of time, okay, he went back, he called upon his neighbors, okay, and then all the neighbors, they argued strongly that since Mohan has been wronged, he has been beaten up in before them, and they were the ones who rescued him, otherwise he would have been beaten up badly. Okay, now when all the villagers, they insisted, okay, finally the SHO agreed. Okay, he asked Mohan to write down the complaint and also told the people that he would send the constable next day to investigate the matter. Clear? Now, by this example, we have understood that even after, okay, Mohan was correct, but still his problem could not be resolved. Okay, we have seen that how heated arguments had taken place over a very simple topic. Okay, a very minor issue, but it became a larger issue. Okay, now it is in this situation the land measurement cannot be done by police. This is the responsibility that has to be undertaken by a patwari. Okay, now patwari is the most powerful ground level official. Okay, and patwari has the responsibility to maintain all the land records in the village, because in the villages it has always been, things have been through practices and precedences. Okay, and a lot of paperwork is not usually done. Clear? Now, in this situation, each patwari is responsible for a group of villages, and patwari maintains and updates the records for the entire village. Clear? Patwari has all the maps and corresponding details, and he shall register how much land, what all cultivation is undertaken. Clear? So, patwari has different ways of measuring the agricultural field. Okay, patwari at different places uses different methods. Okay, somewhere long chain is used. Okay, now patwari at this moment of time, okay, would have measured the land of Mohan as well as Raghu, and then he would have compared it with the present situation. Okay, and if it did not match, then finally it was clear that boundary of the field would have been altered by Raghu. Clear? Now, the patwari is also responsible for organizing the collection of revenue on behalf of the government. Okay, so patwari is the one who finalizes that how much revenue has to be paid by the farmer. Clear? And this is all maintained in the records. Now, patwari audits these things quite regularly. Okay, and regularly also updates them. Moreover, the farmer may at times change various things. Okay, farmer may change the crops grown on their field, or they may dig, or they may alter the situation of the field, and everything has to be informed to the patwari. Clear? So, now in this situation, what happens is, in the village level, it is something like a khasra system, khasra record that is maintained. Okay, now patwari gives you the information regarding the geographical dimensions and identifies that which area, which plot has been given to whom. Clear? So Patwari maintains the map, okay, the cultivation, okay, the area and all facilities which are available over the lands of each farmers. Clear? Okay. Now, Patwari shall track it, and Patwari basically works under the revenue department. Okay. Now, Patwari works at the ground level and there are various officials over him. Okay. So, we have seen that at this level, okay, these states are divided into districts. Okay. And for managing matters, the districts are further subdivided. Okay. Now, the revenue unit under which the districts are subdivided, it is subdivided under various tehsils. Clear? So, tehsil is basically the office of the registrar who has all the land records. Okay. Moreover, in this way, we also know that tehsil, talukas are different terms. Okay. And also the district collector has the revenue of administration and also revenue. District collector or the DM that you call. Clear? So they are the ones that once things are beyond the scope of Patwari, it goes under the jurisdiction of the registrars followed by the DC or DMs. Clear? They are the ones, okay, who undertake all this responsibility. Now every tehsil is kept under a tehsildar. Okay. Every tehsil is kept under a tehsildar who basically has the power to resolve these land disputes, and he is the one who often hears to all these land disputes. Okay. Now farmers, they should have a copy of their land record along with the map. Okay. Now they have the right to have this information. Okay. And this is made available to them after payment of small fees. Clear? But essentially at the ground level, farmers face a lot of problems in accessing these. Clear? Because at this level, the Patwari or the Tehsildar or whosoever is official, they are not very willing to help them out. Okay. Moreover, at certain places, certain districts, okay, the panchayat records have also been computerized. Okay. And they are not so easily made accessible. Clear? Okay. So, in a situation, as it was in this situation when Raghu and Mohan were in a dispute, okay, this is a situation wherein a farmer must get access to all the land records and all the informations which are made available. Clear? So, this is how the I have told you in this topic also an example of the fight between Mohan and Raghu has been given so as to make you understand that how the administration works at the village level. Okay. Now, about the succession of laws. Okay. So, Hindu succession law has been amended in 2005. So, as we have seen that it has, whenever we talk about the land, the farmers, we think of men. Okay. And women, even though are working upon the field, okay, but they are very rarely given the ownership of the land. Okay. Till recently, okay, some states provided rights to the Hindu women to get share in the family's agricultural land. So after the death of the father, the property was equally divided earlier amongst the sons, but now the laws have changed and powers have been given to women also. Okay. Now these similar laws are made applicable to all the states as well as the union territories. Okay. So for example, if there is a farmer, okay, who is working, okay, and he has got various children, has got sons as well as daughters. So after the death of the farmer, okay, if the daughter is also living with the family or later on marries off, okay, Then, as per the law, the agricultural land shall be equally shared amongst the daughters as well as the son. Okay, so this amendment in the law has now resolved problems for women. Okay, and a woman always has the responsibility, always has the option, okay, to depend upon her share of land in the time of difficulties. Clear? So this is basically how the surveys are done, how the administration works at the village level, and how these responsibilities are undertaken. Clear? Okay. So in this session, we have majorly talked about how the administration at the rural level works. Okay. And as I had told you in starting, okay, this topic is more relevant to GS2 and GS3. Okay. Mains oriented topic. Clear? Similarly, in our next session, we will move on to the urban administration. Okay, and we will understand how urban administration works. Clear? Okay, so please do let me know, are all of these things clear to you? Okay, in case you have got any doubt, do let me know. Are these all things clear to you? In this session, I have taken example to make you understand how the administration works in the villages, in the tehsils, districts. Okay, so at the villages, we have patwaris undertaking responsibility. Okay, and then the administration moves hierarchy upwards. Clear? Chaliye. So this is essentially all from my side today. In this session, we have understood some basics of rural administration, even though the topic does not have direct relevance to prelims, but is essential to understand and also essential to write answers in the mains. Clear? Okay. So reminding you again, today we have started off with our new batch, GS Foundation batch in English language. You just need to use the code SRM Live to avail maximum discount, okay, and best prices for your entire UPSC preparation. Clear? Finally, you can gain access to my Telegram channel. The Telegram channel, the address is Sharad Mudgal _ StudyIQ, and channel has been named Defense Decoded. Okay, so just scan this, you can gain access, and here in this session, I share all the PDFs, annotated PDFs of my NCERT sessions as well as all the current affairs sessions. Clear? Chaliye. So this is all from my side today. We'll see you all in the next session. Jai Hind. Okay, and please do let me know, how do you like these sessions? Are you able to understand the basic concepts through NCERT so that your foundation is built? Okay, and these things have to be implemented while you are preparing polity for your exam. Clear? So this is all from my side today. We'll see you